Canadian Airlines are taking away flights to
the White House confirming tonight that a 25% tariff on
Canada has updated its travel advice for
warns that U.S. Border Patrol has the authority.
Canadians are fully united from coast to coast.
Our old relationship of steadily deepening integration with the United States is over.
Okay, here is the truth. Whether you want to hear it or not, Canadians really are pulling back from the US in a way that's actually starting to hurt badly.
This week we were planning on going, but we decided to make a different decision.
We're boycotting them for sure.
We have to stand up for Canada. You know, they're poking us in the eye, so we got to poke them back.
We're talking about a real economic sting. Millions of Canadians canceling plans, ditching flights, and choosing to keep their wallets closed when it comes to spending across the border. And it's not just some social media trend or empty threat. It's honestly legit. You can see it all in the numbers because we all know numbers don't lie. And the Americans are feeling it.
Canadian Airlines are taking away flights to popular U.S. cities. This after many Canadian vacationers apparently are avoiding the U.S.
This having not only a negative impact on the tourism market, but business as a whole.
We're seeing pretty seismic developments in terms of the number of people that are willing to go to the US right now.
It's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
So here's what's happening. More and more Canadians are saying, we're done. You don't value us and our contribution to your economy, we will go spend it somewhere else. Especially with this terrible conversion rate. Maybe not forever, but definitely for now. Canadians that were supposed to go to the States these past few weeks, or even for this past month for that matter, with bags packed, plans were made, and they changed their minds. Not because it was convenient, not because they had better options. They canceled to make a point. And they're not the only ones. There's been this growing frustration, political jabs, accusations, tariffs, border drama, and now just a general feeling like Canadians are being taken for granted. So, a lot are doing the only thing they can do to make a point. They're just simply not going. There was this survey conducted recently, and over 60% of Canadians said they were planning to avoid the US altogether this year. That's not just a few angry tweets. That's millions of people deciding to vacation, shop, and spend literally anywhere but in the US. Here's the reality. It's actually happening. For a while, it wasn't clear if people were just venting or if they would actually follow through. But now that the data is in, it looks like Canadian Airlines are slashing flights to major American cities. Businesses are watching bookings drop. We're seeing it play out in real time. Travel numbers are down drastically. We aren't talking about a tiny little dip. It's a total nosedive. And it's not just vacations getting axed, it's business travel, shopping trips, even a quick border hop. People are staying home, and the numbers are here to back it up. If we look at the timeline, the turning point came earlier this year. Travel between Canada and the US had been doing fine. In fact, land travel from Canada to the US was actually up compared to the year before. And then February hit, and just like that, the numbers split. They split hard. That's right, around the time things got tense again, Trump-era trade politics were back in full swing, the US slapped new tariffs on Canadian imports, and suddenly, everything felt way too familiar. The border didn't just become physical, it became personal.
The White House confirming tonight that a 25% tariff on Canadian imports will take effect on Tuesday.
Canadians are fully united from coast to coast to coast to stand up for this extraordinary and beautiful country.
Canadians responded pretty quickly and pretty loudly. In March, return trips from the US by car were down 32% year over year. That's not normal. That's the biggest drop we've seen since 2022 when COVID travel restrictions were still a thing. I mean, that should tell you something.
A lot of people obviously voting with their wallets and saying, you know what, we're going to stay closer to home. We're not going to spend our hard-earned money there while we deal with Trump's tariffs and Trump's 51st state taunts.
People are voting with their wallets. They're saying, we're not doing this again. Why should we keep fueling their economy when they're out here slapping tariffs on us, mocking us in speeches, and treating Canada like some disposable sidekick to their political theater? And this isn't just about some symbolic boycott. The economic impact is real. According to Flight Center, 40% fewer Canadians booked US trips this February. 1 in 5 canceled trips in just the last 3 months.
After I get cancellation emails from my clients, some of whom have been my clients for over 2 decades, I come back to them like, guys, it's Trump, right? It's politics, it's policy, it's he being mean, and is that why the cancellations are happening? And they're coming back to me, it's 1,000%. 1,000%. It's Trump's policies and politics, and we are sorry.
And travel agents are getting emails like clockwork. Lifelong clients backing out, blaming Trump and his policies, his tone, his total disregard for what used to be a solid, dependable friendship. Even airlines are reacting. Tens of thousands fewer seats are being offered between Canada and the US. Just this month alone, United Airlines even scrapped a brand new Toronto to LA route that was supposed to launch this May. That's not a coincidence. Okay folks, if you made it this far, clearly this is something that hits close to home. So take 1 second, hit that like button so that the algorithm knows that this kind of content matters. And if you want more content like this, please go ahead and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss upcoming videos. Okay, so here's where it gets messy. This drop in travel, it's happening right before the summer, which is considered peak season.
I mean, we're gonna feel a big impact in our pocket end of the season if they don't show up this year.
That's when Canadian dollars really pour into the US economy. So if we don't show up in the numbers that they're used to, it's not just a message. It's a very expensive one. Last year, nearly 20 million of Canadians crossed the border, mostly to states like New York, Florida, Arizona, Texas, and California.
Even local officials in Las Vegas are saying what's going on with Canada right now is a problem for us and growth opportunities for us.
Canadians spent a whopping $20 billion down there in 2024. That's not pocket change. That's twice what the Americans spent at McDonald's last year, and almost as much as the entire US fitness industry. That money doesn't just vanish into the air. It props up restaurants, hotels, gas stations, tour companies. It creates jobs. The US Travel Association says Canadian visitors help support around 140,000 jobs. So when we stop going, yeah, that's a problem for average Americans trying to earn a living. If you don't believe me, just ask the guy who runs student tours in New York.
To give you an idea in like actual dollar bills, 2024, my company grossed $35,000 exclusively from Canadian high school kids coming to New York City for their class trip. 2025, 5,000 and going down because I still get cancellations every other week. I hire 15 tour guides and they all work for me as well as other companies. My inability to hire them to do what they love, which is share their passion and their energy and their excitement about the greatest city in the world, it sucks, man. It's really, really rough.
In 2024, he made $35,000 just from Canadian high school kids. This year, $5 grand. That's it. He had to cut back on hiring tour guides, people who rely on those jobs to pay rent, to live. It sucks. And it's just not one guy. This is happening across the board. And it gets worse. Some American businesses are built around Canadian snowbirds. Like literally, the whole model depends on them coming down every year. There's this motel owner in Florida, for example, who's been welcoming Canadians for 35 years. This year, he's at 30% occupancy, while he should be at 80%. You do the math.
Richard Clavette looks forward to Canadian snowbirds coming to Florida every year.
They create bond here and friendship.
Canadians have filled his motels for the past 35 years, but this year was different.
With Canadians right now, we're about 30%, when we should be more like around 80%. So it's a big drop.
Roughly 1 million Canadians, mostly retirees, spend their winters down south. Not for a week or two, for months at a time. And when they stop going, it's not just a few empty hotel rooms. It's empty restaurants, quiet stores, and a local economy that starts to feel like ghost town. One snowbird even said she feels guilty staying in the US right now. That's the vibe.
I live here 6 months. This is my home, but I'm leaving April 2nd.
I actually feel guilty that I'm here.
If you have
approximately 1 million snowbirds going away. They're spending money on vacation rentals when they go there. They're also engaging in activities. They're going out to eat. They're doing other things locally. So you're talking in the billions of dollars.
People are seriously reevaluating whether it's worth the hassle in politics. Even smaller towns are taking a big hit. The beautiful Adirondacks in New York, for example. They rely heavily on Canadian visitors, both in the winter and the summer. Some hockey teams have stopped coming. Bus tours are getting canceled.
We've seen individual families choosing not to come. We've heard of whole hockey teams choosing not to come to some of our international sporting events, and then some group travel bookings, bus tours, etc. Have also canceled.
One survey found that 66% of local businesses there have already noticed a drop in Canadian customers. If this trend holds, they're expected to lose $12 million just from a 20% dip. And you know what? This is not just big vacations that are being canceled. It's even things like quick runs to Buffalo, the day trips to see a concert or to hit up Target, the weekend shopping sprees. We're not doing it like we used to.
A lot of communities that are really dependent on Canadian tourism are really suffering right now. They're really having a difficult time.
So if you ask the folks running the Walden Galleria in Buffalo, which is one of the busiest malls near the border, Ontario plates used to fill that lot. Now, not nearly as many. And that drop is showing up in their tax revenue.
You think of Walden Galleria in Buffalo, you look at the license plates in the parking lot and there are a lot of Ontario plates there each and every day. They're almost entirely dependent on Canadians and Canadian tourism and day trippers who just go for a few hours and spend their money there.
In February, sales tax revenue in the Buffalo-Niagara region dropped by 7%. Officials are saying straight up, it's because fewer Canadians are showing up. That's money that was paying for fire departments, police, local services. Tourism dollars matter a lot.
Certainly in my hometown of Buffalo, where Canadians come over all the time and they go to our sporting events, they shop in our stores. So sales tax revenues are dropping already.
And that'll affect fire and safety and police force and everything else. Sales taxes in a lot of communities, people don't realize, are paid for by tourism.
So here's the big picture. If this travel boycott keeps going, and right now there's no sign it's slowing down, we're looking at a potential 20% drop in Canadian visitors this year alone. That's 4 million fewer people crossing the border. Economists said that this could cost the US $4.3 billion in lost revenue. Now let's break that down. The average US sales tax is about 5%. So if you do the math, that's around $200 million just in lost tax revenue. And once that money's gone, replacing it isn't easy, especially not with local budgets already tight.
Or it seriously declines. People notice that's money that's not easily replaced by Americans. A lot of lawmakers are saying the current situation is not good for my state. We need to make some changes. We need to bring the Canadians back. So I think that we are having an impact.
So now you've got lawmakers in the US starting to panic. How do we fix this? How do we get the Canadians back? That is the question. And the truth is, they might not have an answer. Because this isn't just about one policy or one tariff. It's about a relationship that's been slowly unraveling. The goodwill that used to hold things together, it's getting thinner.
Canada has updated its travel advice for anyone going to the U.S.
It warns that U.S. Border Patrol has the authority to search phones, laptops, or tablets with no reason.
Our old relationship of steadily deepening integration with the United States is over.
The Canadian government even updated its travel advisory. They're warning Canadians that U.S. Border Patrol has the authority to search our phones, laptops, and tablets for no reason at all. So yeah, not exactly a warm welcome. We used to have this deep integration thing going. Cross-border trade, tourism, cooperation, and now the trust is shaken. And when that happens, the ripple effect is massive. Here's the thing, Trump's policies are unpredictable, always have been. So who knows what's coming next? More tariffs? More absurd words being thrown around? A further breakdown in trade talks? Ruling anything out at this point would be naive. But one thing's for sure, alienating your closest neighbor and biggest customer is a really bad idea. If you're Canadian, you're probably already started thinking about other options like Europe or Mexico, anywhere but the place that's looking at us like we're disposable. And that's what it comes down to, trust and respect. We're not just numbers on a spreadsheet. We're travelers, we're customers, we're neighbors, we're people. But if you treat us like a headline, we'll find somewhere else to spend our money. Okay, folks, if you're into content like this, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. And thank you so much for watching.